Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, Say What's Real TV. This review is for Hulu's Reasonable Doubt, Season 2, Episode 6, This Can't Be Life. So we pretty much open the episode where we left off with Jax going to see Adrian at Chanel's house. So he's asking her to sit down. He ends up pulling out his piece and she gets triggered thinking about the whole Damon situation. Of course, she's nervous and scared, but she tries to remain calm and she tells him that someone's outside waiting. And if they don't hear from her in like 4 minutes now, they're going to call the police. So Adrian told her that she knows too much and he needed her to back off, get off the investigation. She said that she would. She'll shut her mouth and move on. He said he wanted immunity, he needed protection. So Jax wanted to know protection from what? He still didn't give up any information and Jax was like, well, I can't help you unless I know that I'm safe. So he finally puts the piece down. She goes and calls Daniel to let him know he can come in, she's safe. We knew Adrian wasn't really about that life like that, but Jax was able to get out of the situation unharmed. So she gets home, she's had a long day, she gets a couple of shots of liquor and she's ready to go give her man some sloppy toppy. She says she wants it in her mouth and he's not turned on. He can't get it up. She does notice and he tries to play it off and like, well, let me just munch on your box real quick so I can make your day. And of course, she didn't resist. So we find out through Daniel that JT tried to avoid the whole gambling ring operation backfiring on them by putting an account in Chanel's name and having her sign the paperwork under the pretense that it was for their daughter's trust funds. That's how her name got on the paperwork. So Chanel honestly does not know about this $30 million. So we see the whole legal team all together and they're trying to brainstorm what they're going to do in the courtroom and how they're going to try to get Adrian to confess to unaliving JT so that they can free Chanel. So Jax comes up with this plan that everyone loved, even Corey, and he said it convinced him. So we didn't have to hear them going back and forth about sticking to self-defense. There's a real quick scene where we see Lucy and her son getting ready to start their day. I guess he's going to school and she's headed to court, but they have a flat tire. So the son, he calls a lift, and this causes Lucy to be late for court and delay the proceedings. And my thing is, the way the whole courtroom was sitting there waiting, what would have happened if Lucy never showed up? So the prosecution, they bring out a couple of witnesses, a 911 operator and a realtor, and in Corey's cross-examination, he basically shut all that down, and pretty much the realtor helped the defense more than the prosecution, leaving Lucy sitting there looking crazy. So we see Naima in her room gyrating to some music on some social media app, and I'm like, ain't she like 10 or 11? She got a shirt all tied in a knot with a lip gloss popping. So Spencer, he comes in like, you know, mom and dad will be mad if you post that. She gets smart at the mouth like, well, who's gonna tell him? He says, I am. So she threatens him about some secret drawer he has. Now, we do want to know what's up in that drawer, but he plays it off and says, I don't know what you're talking about. So then we hear Lewis in the background calling out for them, and she quickly undoes her shirt in the back. So she knows she's already doing wrong, so it's like sneaky stuff already creeping in. So we get this scene with Jax and Corey in a conference room, and they're going over Chanel's case. All of a sudden, Jax, she starts apologizing to Corey, and she's giving him all the praises, all the things. Next thing you know, she's walking towards him. He's walking towards her. He's telling her that they make a great team. Jax is moving in closer and closer. Now they're locking lips. And that usher dropping in the background. Can you handle it? I'm like, yes, Lord. So the two of them are getting hot and heavy, and he's lifting her up, putting her all on the table. She's ripping his shirt open. We can see those chocolate chiseled abs, and I'm like, oh my God, this man is just too fine for words. He is just too fine. So initially I was annoyed with Jax because I'm like, come on, Jax, you were doing well. You were trying to make everything work. At least find out about Lewis and Tony first before you get in these streets just throwing the cooch again. But come to find out, Corey was having a wet dream at his desk. I don't know if he fell asleep, he was daydreaming, or just over there fantasizing. I don't know what he had going on, but it was all about Jax. We see Jax seeing Dr. Lennon, and she's telling her that everything at home with Lewis is going well. They're making progress, and at work with Corey, they are finally on the same page. So Dr. Lennon wanted to know, well, what about Damon? Are you still having the nightmares? We learned then that it's been 4 months since this whole incident with Damon, and Jack says that she's making distance from that. So low-key, Dr. Lennon was given, if everything going so good at home and at work, why are you here? And I didn't know things had to be terribly wrong in order for you to go talk to your therapist, but I thought it was a good thing that Jax took the initiative to even do that. So Jax, she tells her it's this gut feeling that she has, that she's just waiting for the other shoe to drop, like everything seems too good to be true. So Dr. Lennon tells her that it's normal for her to feel that way after all she's been through. She's going to be skeptical about things, but it's okay to live in the moment, enjoy it, be present while it's happening, because life gon' life regardless whether you're looking for it or not. Now, while Jax is over here trying to protect her peace and keep things cool and copacetic, Lewis is over here pulling up on Tony at the school demanding a DNA test. So Tony, she seems stressed out. She's telling him just to wait till after the baby is born. It's not safe right now. Apparently, he's done all kind of research about it. He's not talking to his wife, but he's over there doing research because he's a father. He's not some deadbeat to have his child just floating out there in the world. He needs to know now. He's talked to his doctor about it and has already made the decision to set the appointment, like he knows she has absolutely nothing going on and nothing to do but to fulfill his needs of what he wants. But reluctantly, Tony agrees to go ahead and do it. So we head over there to the courthouse, and Dan the man is hard at work once again. He finds out information that Evan Gerard is Jeffrey Epstein 2.0, where he has quote-unquote companions all up and through the country club messing with young girls. So Corey, he gives Daniel all his flowers and praises and said he did a great job. So Daniel looks at Jax for some type of validation, and Jax gave him good night and goodbye. Now, we know that she loves Daniel and that he does a great job, but Jax, it is good to hear every now and then, you know. So Jax, she was asking Corey, like, are you feeling good? And he was like, come again, pun intended, because, you know, he still got in his head the little wet dream he was having. So he's like stumbling and bumbling over his words, like, why would I be feeling good again? And Jax having absolutely no idea the thoughts that are running through this man's mind. If only she knew. Is telling him about the witness that have on the stand for the day, and all of a sudden his dad pops up, Jeremiah Cash, and Corey's demeanor just changes, like, what are you doing here? Like, I thought we were meeting later on, and you could tell he did not want him there. So we get inside the courtroom, and Lucy has this coach on the witness stand, and he's basically just assassinating Chanel's character, making it seem like she just was doing all these bad things, cursing him out. She's the one that was violent. She was hitting him, blah, blah, blah. So when Corey does the cross-examination, he basically shut all that down and showed that he was just being biased because he testified in another case where he said the person wouldn't hurt a fly, but yet and still the person was actually convicted of unaliving his wife. But the interesting thing in all of that was how Corey, while he's doing his cross, was trying to look for validation in his dad. He kept looking back at him to see if he can get what Daniel was trying to get from Jax, like some type of, yeah, you're doing a great job type thing. And you could see that his confidence wasn't as strong as it was when his dad wasn't in the courtroom. So afterwards, Jeremiah asked Corey and Jax out to lunch. Corey didn't want to go. He tried to make it seem like they were booked and busy, but no, Jax, she insisted because she wanted to sit down with the legal legend. So when they get in the restaurant, everything is cool. They're laughing kalacky-lacky. Corey gets a phone call, so he leaves the table, and that's when Jeremiah makes his move and tries to hit on Jax, asking her about dating older men. She says that her husband is 3 years older than her, if that counts, and he's like, no, I'm talking decades, and says that he had to go ahead and shoot his shot. And she's like, well, did you really? And he says, well, ask for forgiveness, not permission. So Jax, she's instantly annoyed because now she's like, isn't that what essay abusers say? Now, I hope that we don't find out Mr. Cash is over there on Evan Gerard's companion list. So Jax is giving him the side eye, and she is ready to go. And when Corey comes back to the table, she's like, thanks for the lunch. I got to get back to court, and she leaves. And Corey, I believe, knows his dad like the back of his hand, automatically asks him what happened, and his dad sits there like, I don't know. but Corey knows what time it is. He knows his daddy is off the chain. So we get yet another meetup, and hopefully the last, between Evan and Adrian. And he basically just tells him he's being subpoenaed to court, and Evan gets nervous about that, like, oh, you're not going to tell the truth, are you? And what really happened? And Adrian is like, why would I do that? So Evan, of course, makes his usual idle threats and tells him good luck in court. So when Jax leaves the restaurant, she gets a phone call from Angela letting her know that Mama Lou is in the hospital. So now, of course, she's nervous. She is headed over there right away. So when we get over there, we learn that Mama Lou called herself trying to lose weight quick, fast, and in a hurry by doing intermittent fasting. And I don't know if she got dehydrated or what happened, but her reasoning was that her and Kevin Douglas, who we have yet to meet, by the way, were supposed to be going on this R&B cruise. So Jax basically tells her if Kevin can't accept her for who she is, then she doesn't need him. Like, no man is worth going through all of that. She tells Jax that it's not him. He likes her just the way she is. It's her feeling nervous because she hasn't been this happy in a while. Now, Paul has been gone for like 5 or 6 months. And if you ask me, I feel like it's too soon for her to be dating anybody. But she's grown. She can do what she want to do. If she likes it, I love it. But she gives that she is one of those women that has to have a man regardless. And we saw that with the whole Paul situation. And she really didn't care what her daughter was going through or how she felt. She needed that man so she wouldn't be alone. But Jax, being the loving, forgiving daughter that she is, let her mom know how much she loved her and how she was going to take the rest of the day off to sit there with her. So we see Jax and Corey on the phone, and he's showing concern about her mom, and he brings up his dad offending her, and she tells him that he hit on her, and Corey was like, that's not okay. So Jax, she senses something in his voice like, are you okay? Like, does he know how you feel? And Corey was like, he can't win an argument with him, so he stopped trying. So Jax, she tells Corey that his dad may never change, but that doesn't mean he has to hold all of that in. And she's learning that honest, direct communication is key to any relationship. And as she's saying all of that, ironically, she spots lying-ass Lewis. So she hangs up with Corey and she calls Lewis, and he sends her the voicemail. She looks at the phone like, I know this mofo did not. So she calls him right back, and he answers like, hey. She's like, hey, what are you up to? Now, any normal person, you already know you're somewhere you're not supposed to be. And you know your wife is supposed to be in court on this big high-profile case. But for her to call you out the blue back to back, wouldn't you be looking around? Wouldn't you have some sense of, let me pay attention to my surroundings? Oh, no, but not Lewis. He says, I'm at work. She says, oh, you're still at work. Now, I don't know how Jax did it. I really don't know. But I was respecting the fact that she kept her cool throughout the entire conversation because he just flat out lied, right? And she's looking directly at him as they're talking, but you can see the hurt on her face, the betrayal of it all. So after asking her, was everything okay, he basically dismissed her like, can I call you later, as if he had so much going on that he couldn't talk. And she stood there in disbelief as he lied to her, and she said, I love you. And he said, I love you back, and got in his car and left. Now, I think that Jax was totally caught off guard because just last week, she was praising him to the gods, lifting him up. That's why you can't put people on pedestals, saying what they will and won't do, because they will have you out here looking like a plumb fool. And we heard Jax say 11 times just how trustworthy he was and how she's never not trusted him, and that more men need to be like Lewis. And with that, I'm guessing that's why she's so hurt and in shock right now, and why she can't immediately confront him, because she's blowed. But what would you guys have done? Would you have let Lewis know, Ninja, I see you? Or would you have waited to confront him later on? So we get this scene with Mavis storming into the DA's office, yelling at Henry about JT's case, and basically threatening him about being reelected to office. Now we see the look on Henry's face like he's scared of Mavis, like she has power in the community or something to control the election or whatever else. Like, who is Mavis besides being JT's mom? So Lucy, she comes in and Mavis gives her the once over up and down, and Lucy wanted to know what was that all about, and Henry chalks it up as it being just a grieving mother. But then he makes sure he gets into Lucy's behind because she was late for court, and she's telling him all about the death threats, the flat tire, this and that and the other, how they're losing jurors left and right. So Henry says that Mavis was right. They need to drum up some positive things about JT's case, and Lucy makes a smart comment like, for the case or for your election, and he let it be known once again, for her sake, she needs to win this case. So later on, Jax, she finally makes it home, and when she walks in the door, Lewis was like, "We need to talk." I'm like, oh Lord, I'm excited. It's getting ready to go down. Next thing I know, we're talking to Naima. I'm like, what? Naima? Is that what we had to talk about? So apparently Spencer hid his stash from that secret drawer and then went and told his daddy what time it was. We hear Jax and Lewis reprimanding her about having this whole secret account, and she's complaining that they're going through her phone like she's paying bills. And they're telling her about what not to do, and she's telling them what other kids are doing. And they're like, well, we didn't raise you like that. And Jax, she makes a point to saying, we didn't raise you to be keeping secrets, but low-key talking to Lewis and giving him a little look. So Naima is still running off at her mouth. Jax wasn't having it and told her, you know what, I'm keeping the phone. You lost your privileges for a week. And told her next time, don't lie. Once again, talking to Lewis. So later on, she goes to get in the bed, and Lewis, he's already in there wrapped up to his neck with his back turned like, ooh, I hope she doesn't want to hunch. I hope she doesn't want to put it in her mouth. And it's quite apparent that he doesn't want to be bothered. So she asks him, is he okay? And he says that it's just been a long day. So she lays down, and you could tell she is really worried about the situation. She doesn't know what to think. And I just don't know, how long do you go before you try to find out what's really going on? So the next morning, Jax and Autumn, they're on a run, and they talk about the court case and how Adrian was going to be put on the stand and whether Jax thought he did it or not, and if he knew what really happened in those pictures, which I feel like Jax shouldn't be discussing all of that part with what she thought to Autumn, but that's neither here nor there. So she said what was surprising to her, and she told her all about the situation with Lewis coming out the hospital and ignoring her phone calls. So Autumn basically gave him the benefit of the doubt and painted a scenario for her, because she told her that she was going through IVF. She was spotting at one point, but she didn't mention it to Kendall because she didn't want Kendall to worry. So she let Jax know, like you did say, he was coming out of the hospital, so maybe he has something going on and found out and wants to be sure before he actually tells you so that you don't worry. So Jax was like, he did have a hard time getting it up the other night. He tried to play it off, but I still was able to tell. And she's trying to blame it on stress and his job and this and that and the other. And Autumn was like, just give him the benefit of the doubt. It might not be all what you think it is. And Jax was looking like, I don't know. Like it's still in the back of her mind that something wasn't right. So we get a scene with Corey and his dad, and he's asking his dad for help in getting clemency for the Isabella Torres case. And Corey was saying, like, if he wins Chanel's case, then he can raise his national profile. And Jeremiah kind of shot it down, like, if you win, like he didn't have much faith in his son. So Corey, he basically got fed up and was like, you know, he's tired of playing the game. So him and his dad, they go back and forth about the legacy of their family. And he's telling him, like, you know, Grandpa helped you, but Jeremiah acts like he wants Corey to get it out the mud. Corey just goes on to say that the DV cases are important to him and he's tired of his dad dismissing him. Corey brings up the fact that his dad tried to hit on Jax, and that made Jeremiah ask Corey, like, why he's not married. So Corey was like, you know, I was engaged to Shanice, right? And Jeremiah said, well, that was 10 years ago. So he goes into this whole spiel about when he first started and how Corey's mom was the real hero in it all and got him through those things. So he was trying to tell Corey basically that he needs to find him a woman, because that's who is going to help him elevate to the next level. So you can see the tension kind of ease up a little bit, and they kind of have a little laugh together. So Jeremiah tells Corey that he doesn't dismiss him. He's just an old man that's stuck in his ways and doesn't get into his feelings and emotions. But he tells Corey that if it means anything to him, he will do better. That was enough for Corey. He was like, thanks, Dad, and Jeremiah leaves. So we go over there to the trial, and Jack, she's waiting outside the courtroom, and you could tell she has a lot on her mind. When Daniel, he comes in and tells her he has all the statements that he needs from over there to the country club to give to the FBI concerning Evan. And Jack says she has a better idea. Let's just wait and see what happens in the courtroom. So they get Adrian on the stand, and Lucy's up first. She's asking a few questions, and we learn that him and Chanel been sneaking around with this affair for like 3 months, and JT apparently didn't know anything about it. So Lucy, she tries to bring out these letters that Chanel wrote to Adrian and try to discredit her by what some of the things that were in the letter about them two running off together. And He just basically just professed his love for her, like he wanted to help her get away from JT. So Lucy didn't really question him any further. So Jax, she comes to do her cross-examination and wanted to know, why was Chanel writing you letters? And he says because JT was tracking everything. Now, I feel like the whole tracking thing is going to come back and bite somebody, because I could have sworn Corey asked Crystal to get a list of JT's car being tracked in the beginning of the season. So I don't know. So Adrian says that if JT would have known that they were communicating, he would have hurt her for sure. So he was trying to protect her. So Jax asked him, has he ever seen JT put his hands on Chanel? And he said one time he grabbed her real hard, but he didn't do anything because Chanel said that he was drunk. So Adrian, he spotted Evan's henchman in the back of the courtroom while Jax is asking him, did he unalive JT? She's steady pressuring him, asking him. He's getting nervous. He's scared. He sees the man in the back. He blurts out, no, I didn't, but I wish I did. He tells everything, how Chanel knew nothing about the money and how he lied to her, telling her that it was his money, but it was something that JT and Evan started under this LLC. That's when the henchman got up like, okay, that's all I needed to hear. And the bottom line was, he stressed once again that he loved her and she didn't deserve any of this. And he would have unalived JT if he had the chance, period. So Jax was done with her questioning and the judge dismissed Adrian. So when she goes back over there to Chanel, she's like, why did you make him say all of that? Evan is a dangerous man. And I'm like, Chanel, how do you know Evan is dangerous when Jax asked you about him? You act like you really didn't know him like that. You just didn't like his vibe. And another thing, we still want to know what Evan said to you when he came to visit you in the jail. So Jax told her that's what Adrian wanted. So you could see Chanel and Adrian looking at each other with tears in their eyes. And Chanel, you can tell she was actually terrified for his safety. So Jax and Daniel, they go over there to the DA's office to talk to Lucy and Henry and offer up all the information they have on Evan, which will be a federal case. They could just easily give it to the FBI, but they're wanting to offer it to them first so they can get immunity for Adrian and put him in witness protection. So of course, Henry, knowing he wants to be reelected, decided to go ahead and take Jax up on her offer. And Jax made sure to let them know they need to enjoy that win because that'll be the last one they get. So in breaking news, we see Evan Gerard being arrested outside of his country club for being the ringleader in this sex trafficking case. So in Henry's press conference, he stated that Evan used color-coded bracelets that indicated just how many men the young girls would sleep with. So Corey says he hopes that he rots in jail. So here's the thing. They keep stressing that Evan is so dangerous, like he would just unalive somebody at the drop of a hat and think nothing of it. We never saw that. He didn't give that. So I don't know why everybody is supposed to be so terrified of Evan. Now what he is a dirty, sick individual dealing with these young girls. That's for sure. But quiet as it's kept, nobody is scared of Evan Gerard. And another thing, just because Evan gets arrested, we still don't know what any of these secrets are. They keep saying, oh, did you tell her the truth about what happened before JT was unalive? What was the secret? And what does any of that have to do with who hit JT over the back of the head? That's the question. So Jack, she gets up and goes to Crystal's desk to see if she's missed any calls. And Crystal is on her cell phone and she sees fake-ass TMZ TZT has posted a picture of Tony in the hospital getting her DNA test. So she shows Jax the picture and Jax looking at the picture like, wait a minute. And she has to zoom in. But she knows she sees what she sees because you know your man when you see him, okay? This person has their hand bandaged up. They have the same haircut that her man has, same outfit. And not only that, he was in the hospital, the same one she saw him walking out of when he sent her to voicemail and lied about it. So now Jax is devastated and I'm sure embarrassed because this is on a major blog.
Damn!
So they got that Outcast blaring in the background and Jax is sitting on a patio, probably going through like 30 packs of cigarettes at this point, looking like Bernadine from Wait Until Exhale. She's steady looking at the pictures on a computer. She's zooming in like, I know he mine. My heart say he mine. Like, Jax, the picture is not going to change. It is Lewis on the picture, girl. So we get this montage and we see Lucy and Henry getting ready to do, I guess, another press conference live. We see Corey over sitting at a bar alone and he's seeing other women walk in, and I guess he's wishing that it would be Jax walking in, and the bottom line is he is thinking about Jax more and more. We then see Lucy get home with her son John, and they're getting groceries out the car. And my thing with Lucy is, if you're so scared and you're running from state to state because you know somebody's after you, you need to be looking around at all times. You coming home all times of the night, you need to be paying attention. We see somebody across the street lurking in the dark, watching their every move. Now he's standing there casually smoking his cigarette like he doesn't have a care in the world. Could this be the person she's running from? Is this an ex? Is this the guy that she was trying to see if they were still locked up? Who knows? We don't know just yet. And side note, even though I don't like cigarettes, I did like the transition from him smoking his cigarette going back to Jack smoking hers. It was a nice shot. And she's still up there analyzing this picture. So then we see Lewis, he's actually running, and he calls his brother Terrence to tell him he has to tell Jax tonight he can't keep it from her anymore. So he gets in the house, he's stumbling and stammering over his words when he sees her, and he tells her, there's something I need to tell you. So Jax, she turns to him, she's been crying, you could tell she's still devastated. She says, is it about Tony? It's your baby, isn't it? And of course we fade to black, and he says, I can explain. And that's where the episode ends. Ooh, child. Lewis just tried it this entire episode, if you ask me. Like, nobody wants to hear what you have to say right now. Like, you had plenty enough time to say what needed to be said, to tell the truth and come clean, and you did not do that. You didn't do it, Lewis, so I don't know what to tell you. Nobody cares that you hunched Tony. It's the fact that you weren't honest. Now, the fact that he lied, Jax can feel like the two of them been playing in her face this entire time. Like, she been sleeping with Chanel's husband, sleeping with Lewis. She don't know where it began and where it ended at, you know? Like, you just lying for no reason. The question is, drop down in the comments, you guys. Do you think Jax will stay with Lewis with this break baby? It may not even be his baby, but I think the betrayal of it all is going to mess them up real bad. Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, you guys, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.